Hello, friends. Tonight's topic: psychosis. My pen pal in Russia, Moscow, she's the same age as I am. She's 39 or 40. She's been messaging me, and I've been messaging her back and forth for maybe 3 years now. 2.5, 2 years, 3 years. Been a while. And she's been through some stuff. And I met her on No Longer Lonely, the website. It's not a plug. I have nothing to do with the website. I like the website. The guy that has that website that originally made it used to be a smaller website. Now it has more of a professional website. I say go on there, check it out. Definitely. I still think that he is asking not very much to have a premium account so that way you can message people. It's worth it. Even if it's costs a little more, it's still worth it. If you have a little bit of dough. That's where I met my friend from Moscow. And she recently was talking to me about psychosis. And she mentioned that she had made a post on Google about her situation in Russia and how she went into the hospital, and by law over there, mental health doesn't cost you anything, is what she was saying in her email to me. I don't know anything about this as far as Russia goes. She's saying it to me, and still she was saying that she needed to pay, and they were paying the doctors to take care of her, and she was saying there was probably confusing her, because she knows that she doesn't have to pay, and the doctors are saying that she has to pay. Maybe a misconception among the general population, thinking that the people that are in hospitals are being taken care of, when they're actually being said to, hey, you are going to be paying. So I'm relaying that publicly. That's what's happening in Moscow. Regardless, she's was diagnosed with schizophrenia recently by doctors, and beforehand they were saying that she was bipolar, and she messaged me and she said that a doctor had said to her to delete or to deactivate her account on that website where she met me for whatever reason, because she was saying, oh yeah, and she goes through psychosis. It's the topic of this video. And she was mentioning to me that she's can have delusions during these psychosis periods. Well, psychosis and mania are going to be close to each other. If you don't know what psychosis is, and you are familiar with mania because you've been having it, or psychosis is pretty much where you're going into a tunnel vision of thought. You're getting sucked in and there's a detachment from what a lot of people will say is reality, and you actually might be onto something, and you're not cool because you're going far out. Well, this gets to be a little bit of an issue when you're making actions that are not so good for you or other people around you. So I'd say the spectrum of psychosis is massive. Movies will maybe portray someone standing on a building. That Richard Gere movie comes to mind where he's standing on the building looking at the airplanes going by, and he's thinking about flying. It could be even more extreme than that. Psychosis or psychotic, not quite the same thing as far as terms go and what they're talking about. Psychotic is complete detachment, where you're somewhat blacked out. Your consciousness and your subconsciousness, you're doing things that you don't even realize that you're doing. Psychotic. So personally, when the manic, I can go into a little bit of psychosis. And it usually, I can identify this because I'm starting to think that I can do certain things that is not on par with what I can discern in a low. So if I'm in a low and I've been in a high and I had some psychosis, and then I come down into a low, then I'm looking at or remembering what I had done prior, or if I'm watching a video or I'm watching something that I have done, it hurts. It hurts inside because I know I'm looking, and I'm also in a apathetic mood, depression, where I'm thinking even less of myself. And then I'm looking at myself being very high on myself. King of the castle. Which is mostly a lot of my manic, my top manic is grandeur. I don't really want to use delusions of grandeur. Maybe that's what it is. I'll really be high up on my horse. And then the lows is the opposite. I'm down all the way in the sticky mud. So if you have experienced a grandeur situation, a lot of the times my thought process is going that way anyways. Not so much grandeur, it's to go up, to succeed. So that's subjective. So one person that's very rational, very reserved, safety, well, that's subjective. They'll say, oh, this is too much over here. This is you're going too crazy over there. So then there's how much do you live? How much do you go out on a limb where other people wouldn't even go a step that direction? This is where reality and detachment from reality, where you understand that you want to go for things, that you're artistic, or there's things that you can do. And then all of a sudden you've got to this point inside of your brain that you don't realize in your current state, in your current mood, that you are flying. You're out there. I watched a thing about a exercise guy, a fitness guy. His name is Greg Plitt. And it's obvious he was manic depressive. He was mood swing guy. Well, if you watch some of his videos, he gets up in the sky. He's very manic a lot. And why not? The brain is so complex. Why wouldn't there be people that are a lot of times manic, as there are people that are a lot of times low and then sometimes manic? Why not would there be someone that's completely manic? And then I saw the video of him, or I saw the video saying it was him running in front of the train that killed him. And the whole thing to do with the last day of his life was this was according to the story, was that he was going to outrun the train. It's clear that he ran in front of the train. He ran to the front of the train, and then the train, it's a graphic video. Sometimes I can watch those. Looking at Greg, though, his manic is on video over and over and over again. If you look up his videos, you look up his channel, his videos are still going to be there. Manic over and over and over again. It's his demeanor, everything that he's saying, especially if you've gone through it yourself. I've had times where one of the last times I was ultra, super hardcore manic, I rode my bike and I had some alcohol in my system, and this alcohol is going to have something to do with that manic, big time. I'm going to get to that. I was in a little bit of a psychosis, a little bit. And I was talking to the cashier there, and she was talking to me for a little bit, and I was going, and you'll know what I mean by that. And she says, "What the fuck?" That's what she said. She was scared, and I only realized this afterwards, because I could remember all of it. And that's another thing too, is I can remember, so I'm not going into a psychotic thing. I can remember all of this. And then weird things happen to me during these times. And I walk outside, and there's this fella on a scooter in the middle of the winter in Denver with snow still on the ground, and he's got ski pants on and ski jacket. And I'm thinking, because he walked in and he started talking to me, and I'm thinking to myself, nothing. I mean, he started talking to me. He noticed that I had the light on my head, because from riding my bike, I had a headband with a light. And I look at him, I'm thinking, oh, well, he's getting back from snowboarding or something. And I go outside. No, he's the dude seriously driving a scooter around. So here I am, manic, and here he is talking to me. So obviously he might be right along what we are. Mood swing. Strange behavior. We sat outside for an hour talking, and I'm going blah, 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 and he's telling me, yeah, man, and we're going on and on and on, and here I am. Finally I snap out of it, and I said, okay, I need to get back on the bike, and I need to get going back my way, because it's going to be a good freaking 40 minutes to ride my bike back. This is situation type stuff that I'm bringing up here. You know, this does have to do with all of these, the psychosis. This does have to do with these higher manic situations where you really are, you've got maybe a second or two to realize, hold on, hang on, and you might come out of it, and you might go even further in. And this will go towards your thinking. This will go towards what you can do, what you're so capable of doing. And if I'm more and more talking about these things in videos, and it's therapeutic. It's a constant reminder. Constant reminder all the time that I am gonna be out there. I'm gonna be low. I'm gonna be high. I'm gonna be horny. I'm going to get this massive feeling of loneliness all of a sudden when I haven't given a crap about who's around or why. And that's why they're not around. Because I'm in my own land. So if you're staying away from people, they're going to stay away from you. And then there's that shock of loneliness, that shock of compassion, that shock of apathy and being mad. And this can all have to do with psychosis. So I've experienced this where I'm triggered and I can go into extreme moods. And when you think of psychosis or when you think of mania, you think of someone going around, yay, tulips, and handing tulips out to people in the middle of the city. Yes, life is so wonderful. I'm going to make a rocket today and go up into the sky. All your moods, whatever mood you're in, if you shoot up into that area of your brain where all of a sudden you're spastic, you're manic, and possibly in psychosis, whatever kind of mood you're in, and this is certainly something that I've experienced and I'm sharing with you right now. That's when those times happen, when I wake up the next day and feel hate for myself. And I shouldn't, because I was born with this. Still, I have accountability, or I need to have accountability in order to survive in society, to have friends, and to, just the thought of that is really, that's a burden right there. Heavy feeling about that. Right there, feeling about that accountability of, something that's twisted you up, that you were born with, that you've got to claw back on, whether people are accepting of what you've done or you haven't done. One thing I've noticed, though, is a lot of close people to me during any of these times that I've been through these periods, they're still there, still talking to me. So they have a lot of patience, possibly. Because I have other people that have definitely just X'd my ass hard. Psychosis, and this is from my thoughts of my conversation with my Russian friend, it can be so debilitating in manic periods. Not only depression, just the manic periods can be so debilitating. And you really could just take a crap on something so fast. So fast. Just throwing something away so fast. And the will I must have during times when my manic state is so high that even in a lower mood, I'm thinking to myself, how do I battle that? When everything is so increased in my brain, how do I battle that? Moscow friend, she's been in a hospital for like 6 months. And once they say, hey, you're this or you're that, they're going to take all your dough we gotta come together. And it was really important for her to let me know that she had made a comment on Google to other people about her experience, and that she had feedback from that. And she also mentioned that she was in a research place. Her English is pretty good. She's getting there. I think she might have been a library or whatever. And she's reading as much as she can about this kind of stuff. Well, at this point, all the doctors are really just screwing her over. Where she's at. And she's getting to that point where she realizes she's got to go in for herself, do things for herself. What do I got to do? Because when you are going to put your hand out and no one's there to put their hand out for you, they're the only reason that they have their hand out is to take something from you. Now she's going to get in there, and she's going to scratch at that. She had a guy that was interested in her that she'd met also too on that same website. And I think that he left because she was changing through her situation, being in the hospital and whatever, getting sucked into that. And she was really happy about that, and she was really ecstatic about that. And that's all out the window. So the importance that we come together is crucial. And in a lot of ways, relaying information, mainly. Her relaying that information to people in her own area will be good for anyone in her area, because she didn't know these things beforehand. So if you have no one anywhere saying, hey, heads up, hey, this is what I've experienced, hey, this is what I basically know now after this or that, well, then you really just have a bunch of people taking advantage of very certain people. People will pay for therapy. I'm getting a little off topic here. That's okay. I have a point. People pay for therapy so they can group support. They'll pay $50 so that way they can sit in with 10 other people, because there's someone that's put together the group, and then they'll collect the dough. And it could be really anyone can put these groups together, or some office somewhere, They put these groups together, and they'll take your money. They'll take your $50 or whatever. And here we are with this YouTube. We have this amazing tool where we can come together, and there's not really any forum room, the same as there was 15 years ago, where there was forums where you could go in, and it was very specific, and you can talk. Well, here now we can look at each other's faces. We can even get more from it, and we're even getting less from it, though, in my opinion. Forums were very direct. This is not. Because the way that this site is put together, it's not the same as being able to go into a certain category and connect exactly how you would rather connect. This is, you gotta watch the videos. You gotta look through what, you gotta listen to what they're talking about. You gotta go through all this different things that people are saying to connect with something. You know this very well. You could go into a forum. These are pretty much vanished by now. You could go to a forum, pretty much read about how some moderator is completely mad about how you're posting something in a thread that's no longer or whatever. That was pretty much 90% of it, of course. And then there was a lot of people that were connecting. It was really an amazing thing. Now there's a sea of videos. The thing is, we can connect, me and you, the same as I have connected with my friend in Moscow. I mean, I've connected with someone in freaking Moscow. I've connected with people in South America. I've connected with people in Romania. I'm still talking to my friend in Moscow. The other people, they stopped talking to me. I didn't stop talking to them. So gather what you will from that. The gal I was talking to in Romania, she was, one of her last messages was that she's really comfortable with Romania and she's not interested in America. Okay. All right. Well, she also goes through mood swings and everything else, and that's how someone can just go poof out of your life, because they have their own reality, they have their own needs, they have their own wants, and it might not include you. So these videos can be even more detached than forums, even with being able to look at their faces and everything else, because with the forums and all that, you don't know who it is that you're talking to. At least with these kinds of videos, we know who we're talking to. You're looking at my face right now. Hello. So, psychosis, the topic of this video, was about 10 minutes ago. Oh well, I'll talk about it a little bit more. I think I'll go ahead and say goodnight to yous. And there's plenty more I could talk about with the higher end of a manic detachment, separation situation, where things can get crucial in your choices, in your deciding judgment. A lot of people, when they're drinking too much or things of such as nature, you're going to hop to that point very fast. Very, very fast. So, we use any kind of substance we can to get by. And I'll just give you a hug on that one, because I'm right there with you. So, if you are going through any kind of psychosis at the moment and you're watching this, the greatest tip I can, and I'll have another video on this, to end this off with something that might do you something. Isolate yourself. Isolate yourself. And if you're having harmful type thoughts or whatever, then yeah, of course, come out of that and talk to someone. Be careful though, who you talk to. Be very, very, very careful. Be it someone that loves you a lot. And if that person is not there, then do what you must. Because psychosis is not all happy smile faces, heavenly clouds, wonderful grass is green, trotting through Switzerland. It's not. That's a misconception. It's a misconception of mania. Mania can be any mood. Any mood. So you can be anywhere in your head, and it could go to the extreme. And that's where we talking to each other and getting an idea of, in this situation, in this situation, in this situation, the branching out, what I would do, possibly here, and that's a powerful tool to be able to do that. And you can get that experience from people that are older than you. You can get that experience from younger people that are younger than you. Information through personal account, where people are saying, yeah, I've gone through this, I've gone through that. And you can reach back inside and you can say, yeah, okay, I need that right now. That's good. Well, add that up. And that's where we all come together. That's where we all help each other out. I'm grateful for my friend in Moscow. I'm not thinking anything other than how can we be friends to each other through the emails. And this gets a little bit dissolved when people are engaging with other people. It's instantly, what can I get from this person? Well, step back from that for a moment and ask yourself, what can I give to this person? What can I show to this person that I've experienced that can help them out? Where's that at? Where's that at with us? What are we doing for that? What are we doing for each other? Because we might be on the lower end of society, and that's subjective. That is subjective. We're still rolling. We're still going. And if people think what they think, then what kind of value does that have when you know that you have other buddies that experience the same thing as you? And culture is pretty much culture. Pop culture is pop culture. The people at the bottom, their culture is a culture. A lot of it has to do with how you feel and how you can get on during times of psychosis, during times of manic episodes, where you'll make a move where previously you've thought about it, and it will come into your brain. Imagine an empty space inside of your brain. You don't know any of this stuff. You don't know any of the experience. You haven't talked to any, no matter what age you are. And then it comes. And you're just moving on it. And imagine if there's other people that you've listened to what they have to say, you have things to say to them, you've come together, and there's the structure inside of your mind that when this happens, you do this. When this happens, you do this. That's strength. And that's the moat around your castle. And our days are only so much. True. Still, I'd like to finish this. I'd like to say that I'm grateful for my my friends. I'm grateful for the people that I've met online that are still in communication with me. I'm not perfect. I don't have it all down. I certainly do not, and I won't have it all down until I'm gone. So the most important thing to me is that I can impart, that I can convey and share, because that's one of the only things that makes me feel good these days, is sharing and having some kind of care or love inside of my heart. Because I can have dark lows where I have hate inside of me, and I know that's not where I want to be. That's what's going on inside of my brain. So I've got to live through that. I've got to live through that darkness until I come out to feeling again, until I come out and feel love inside of my heart, which is the best feeling that you can feel. So love one each other, reach out to each other, talk to each other, care for one another. And I've thought about this, and it's really important that individuals, humans that have addiction, reach out to people with addiction, people with mood swings, reach out to people with mood swings, people that, etc. You get my point. Because if you seriously, if that's the pool you're in, then you really can help out other people with what your experience. So that should be the focus. If you have that compassion in your heart and you say, "Oh, I'll help everyone. I'll help everyone," but there's only so much energy, and there's so much time, and there's only so much that you can do for other people outside of doing everything that you need to do for yourself. And in my opinion, it's much more powerful that you are focused on helping people that you have experience to help those people with that go through that same thing that you've gone through, or are going through those things. People that are younger and you are an older person, think of all the people out there right now that are going to go through all the same things that you went through, and you can give them a little bit of a leg up. You can give them a little bit of you could give them a little bit of boost underneath, and then it all comes back to you, because you get to remember inside your mind that there's something that you did for someone else, possibly taking all those things that you've done in your life during certain moods that hurt other people, which I can think of many myself that I've done. So maybe one day, where the balance goes between hurt people and did something good for people, I might get to that point sometime in my life. And I really shouldn't beat myself up about it, because I was born this way. So I care about you guys. And the topic was psychosis. And I talked about some other things too. If any of this helped you out, share it with someone else. Share what you have with other people. Something. Not necessarily needs to be the bread out of your hand, not necessarily needing to be your soul, which is kind of funny. Just sharing your experiences, sharing your what you have inside that you've gone through with the next people coming up, and the people that have already been through it, because we all want to relate and feel close to something, and as how I feel as a freak. And that's me personally. I'm not saying that you're a freak. I'm saying me personally. I want to be able to relate with my family of people that have similar brains to mine. So good night. Take care.